Yeah.
Why do people touch wood?
It's old superstition from the West. But yeah, yes, I feel fresh. I feel energized. A bit cheesed off that from about midnight or 1 o'clock we had no electricity till about 5:30 or something this morning. But I asked other people, and it was like, no, we were fine. So
I seem to have very stable electricity. Touch wood.
Touch wood, indeed.
I mean, touch the wood.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably I'm connected to the airport line, but you're not far from the airport.
I was about to say
you are even closer to the airport than
you are. Yeah,
so,
quite. So I don't know. Maybe it's a particular grade.
Yeah, probably. It is very
know.
rare. Sometimes even if you're watching television and light goes off, you don't need to even move from the television. It will come back.
Yeah.
Less than 5 minutes.
Lucky.
Just
you guys are lucky then.
You know.
We're not
but
so lucky.
before this, I mean, success, we were going through so many problems from low voltage. Sometimes you cannot even put on your television or refrigerator, but then they install a transformer, and now it changed the status quo.
Yeah, it's good. So it's good.
So we'll take a look at the code. From the code, then we will be doing the newspaper review. Mr. Adedrame is our newspaper review guest. I'm hosting this program today alone. I've not seen my co-host and my better half, Jenaba Sonko. I haven't seen Julde.
Well, Jennifer Sonko signed off yesterday on the news. After she read the news, she announced to the viewers that she was going off to do a master's and she'll be gone for a while. So, that was her, kind of her goodbye. So, yes, you won't be seeing her on this
for a while.
For a while.
Yes. So, we will also be talking to Khadijatu Sise, lead coordinator, ELCOI Gambia, and Anasar, working group member, ELCOI Gambia, on local conference on the youth on climate change. It is very important for us to talk about climate change and seeing the youths involved in the mitigation of the dangers that affect us as a nation. So it is important for us to be part of that discussion. So they would be here later on the program, and we will be elaborating on some of these things. But first, we will take a look at the code, and it reads, experience will show you a master can't only point the way.
No.
Oh,
Stop,
is that right?
Stop and read again.
Experience.
You need glasses?
Experience will show you a master
can only
point
the way. Says it's from Egypt.
Yeah. A master can only point the way, but experience will show you the direction.
It is, they always say that experience is the best teacher.
It's the best teacher.
And the reason they say that is there are many things that in life people can show you, they can tell you, they can whatever. I mean, for example, you and I know that as parents, you have a child and you're telling that child, don't play with fire or you'll get burned. And the child, they're like, yeah, what's my dad talking about? Until that one day they go and touch fire. Then they know why daddy was telling them not to play with fire.
Not to play with the fire.
So sometimes, and that experience means they'll never do it again. Because, it has taught them in a way that is going to stick with them for the longest time. So, for many things, you can try and teach. As you said, the master can point the way, but, experience is the thing. So even if you're doing a particular subject, like sometimes we have people come from, say, UTG, and they've studied journalism, and they've not done the practical side of things, they've done the theoretical side of it. So yes, they might have had a very good lecturer, a very good teacher, but because they haven't done, how to handle a camera, how to edit audio, video, put it all together, the experience of doing it will be better than the best professor if you haven't done it yourself. So somebody can lay the groundwork for you, but you have to do it yourself. You have to go through it yourself to get the best out of it. So yes, it's the proverb is spot on. The master can only point the way. Experience will tell you, for good and for bad. Yeah. Experience is the best teacher.
Exactly. I mean, pointing the way for you, it's creating that path so that you can get to where you want to be smoothly, but it depends how experienced the individual it's going to be. I mean, Mr. Adedrame, experience is the best teacher, as the saying goes. But there are people, no matter how experienced, I mean, you saw them, they will never learn.
Oh, that's a different aspect of it, of course. There are some people who just won't take things in. And sometimes we don't realize that people have different skill sets, you know. So, for example, you might be somebody who you're the best footballer in the school. I just take a random example. But, you know, yet your teacher wants you to be the best science pupil as well. It doesn't always work like that, you know. And yet, instead of concentrating on, say, oh, how can we sort of improve this person's football skills, they're cracking you over the head saying, no, why are you not good at science? Well, that's not your forte. It's not your strong point, you know. So, yes, there are people who, no matter how much experience or whatever, they'll never, because it's just not thing. And it's like if, for example, you sit in when I was in school and at university, the subjects I was interested in, I found interesting. The ones that I was not interested in, they'd be lecturing and my eyes would just glaze over. I'm not even listening, you know. So you could put me in that category, like, you know, no matter how much experience, no matter how many times you put me in that class, because I wasn't interested, you know, I didn't pay much attention or have much interest on it. And so it can happen that way as well. But, you know, in terms of the proverb, definitely, I mean, even somebody who is, you know, not, you know, they tell you don't go and play with, don't put your head in the lion's mouth, as we were saying the other day. It probably only happened once.
Although we've seen people putting their heads in the lion's mouth. I mean, there's a person that tamed a lion. They keep putting their hands and, in fact, their heads, you know, playing with lion jaw.
Yeah, because I've been watching a lot of wildlife videos, some of it because, you know, our colleague Bala likes, you know, wildlife videos to show, particularly at the weekends. So, you know, some of them pop up on my screen, and one of them, a short one that popped up, was a guy who had been training tigers for many, many times, and of course he thought that they were his friends, and he actually got killed by the tigers that he'd been training.
It reminds me of a guy that when we were very young kids in Basel, this guy, he displays snakes at the Basel Youth Center. Yeah. He used to, even, probably Bala might even attest to this, he was called Alaji, is it Alaji Kasara? Okay. Something like that. Okay. I mean, he will display big snakes at the Basel Youth Center, and everybody will cheer him.
They go there and marvel at.
But according to reports, he ended up being killed by one of the snakes.
Really? Oh, wow. Yeah, because those things, there's a time when they revert to their nature. You know, you can train them, but one day they forget that they're a trained animal and they go back to being the wild animal that they are. So it can happen.
It reminds me of people that travel to Katong, including myself, at the snake farm and taking snakes, putting it on you.
I've been there.
Around your neck.
I did that.
You understand?
Last year.
A python. Put it around your neck. What about if it stretch and suffocate you to death?
Well, I said to one of the people, she was like, yeah, go put it around your neck. I said, you know, I'll be the one guy that they decide to strangle. You know? So I held it, but I didn't put it around my neck. So, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
It's crazy what people do. Yeah, so we are going to the newspaper. And, of course, we have quite a very interesting, I mean, yesterday, the UDP have finalized their flag bearer. So, I mean, Usainu Dabo, it's again the UDP flag bearer, Mr. Aditra.
He is indeed, and there were scenes of, you know, jubilation amongst his supporters at the UDP headquarters in Manjai. I don't know if we have the footage, but we did a short story on it, and we hope to do a kind of longer piece and interview some of the people who were involved, some of the contenders, because in the end it came down to three people, Buri Ture, Sane, and of course Usainu Dabo, who it was an overwhelming victory, 65 votes. Buri Ture got 8 and Sane got 2. And of course now the two who lost have said they will throw their weight behind their leader. and helped campaign as one of them put it straight to State House. So that is their intention and that is their ambition, of course. So yeah, but yeah, as I said, colorful scenes, of course. Everybody knows they're bright yellow. So there were lots of people there in the bright yellow, men and women. I saw Yanks, Dabo and others being interviewed. Talib Bensouda couldn't be there because he was at the local government commission giving evidence. So yeah, but yeah, it's Dabo again, and then likely Dabo versus
it's not a surprise to many people. According to some people,
what was what?
He was at the
later. Well, maybe probably he was in two places at the same time. I mean, we did a report where we showed him at the office, but that was on the day when he withdrew his candidature. He might have been there.
Yeah, probably. But maybe he
came
the day. Late or early?
I think early because because he would have been there early, the commission started late. So the local government commission, which normally should start at 10 or 10:30, didn't start till after midday. He was the witness. So they obviously gave him some leeway to be there. But the footage we had on our story was not from that day. It was from a previous day when he went to the headquarters and was greeted by supporters.
And we've also seen yesterday the motorcade of President Adama Barrow passed.
And it was nice to see that some people waved back. There was no insults or anything like that. So it was good to see that. And
the president was so nice to wave.
He waved. Yes, he waved.
And that kind of a gesture is like, oh, you are my people. I mean, we've been in this together. I've been coming to this bureau, so it's us.
Look, the cliche that people use around the world is that no matter what political party you belong to, once somebody is elected president, effectively is the president of the whole country. He or she should not just be the president of their political party. So yes, all of those people, whether they vote for him or not, he is still their president, and if he wins again, he will still be their president. So of course he should acknowledge, he should wave, and he did, and people waved back. I mean, it was a lovely scene.
So that's it.
Some maturity in Gambian politics is nice to see.
Exactly. Let's take a look at another story on the Standards newspaper. NAMS demand explanation for non-appointment of Paramount chief.
Paramount chiefs.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys. It's a weird system. You don't have the same Paramount chief system that we have in Sierra Leone.
How is your Paramount chief system like?
The whole Paramount chief thing was a kind of British kind of invention in Sierra Leone. When they came, the people in the various places, we weren't even split into districts. They came and split the whole country into 13 or 14 districts. The people who were there were essentially the kings of that region, really. So the British decided to come up with this thing called the Paramount Chief System, where you had a staff with like a silver top that they would give you and you would hold. And
an insignia.
Looked, very, very kind of impressive looking
It's sort of an
thing.
Insignia.
Well, yeah. I mean, this was a physical thing, and of course people fought hard to be, and in some areas, of course, it's a hereditary thing, The Paramount chief dies and the son or daughter takes over. But that was kind of, and there have been some instances where there have been fights because, if the previous Paramount chief had more than one wife, is the child of which wife should be, et cetera, et cetera. Is it the child of the first wife? And so on and so on. So you've had all of those things. But I think the Gambia system is slightly different. I don't profess to understand it completely, but it's slightly different. So I'd like to dig more into that. So perhaps you can tell me. I don't know.
The Paramount chief in the Gambia is the head of all the chiefs.
That's
in
what
the Gambia,
I was told. Yeah.
So he is more of the connection between the president and
Right.
or the minister.
Interior,
yes,
probably.
and the other chiefs. So the paramount chief is seen to be the chief of the chiefs in
Right,
this
right.
country.
Yes, because that's, I
And,
think that's
and
the
it
system.
seems to be a very significant position.
Sounds like it.
In the Gambia. I can remember the then paramount chief Demba Sanyang from Lamen. I mean, he used to be a very prominent paramount chief until when Jammeh left the country.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay,
so
right.
there was changes. Now let's take a look at the Spain-Gambia migration agreement. People absconding can jeopardize that relationship.
They can not only jeopardize it, they can kill it. There is to be a press conference, probably as we speak, by the ministry, explaining exactly what has happened, because we've heard the talk on social media, and in the media we've heard the rumors, but they will give us the facts, hopefully at this press conference, as to whether it is true that 34 out of 39, I beg your pardon, 35 out of 39 have indeed absconded. And so that press conference is later today, and or later this morning, and yeah, that will tell. But yeah, you're right, it could jeopardize the whole thing. It could kill the whole thing, not just jeopardize it, which would mean put it in danger. It could kill it, because if it is true, then essentially the scheme is dead. So I think we need some clarity, and hopefully that clarity will come through at the press conference. Yeah.
Exactly. So the trade minister is also assigned as the Minister of Defense.
There was a kind of minor reshuffle yesterday. And you know, I was saying to you before we came on air, it was quite sort of interesting, ironic, serendipitous, I don't know what, you know, as Babuka Ojuf was appearing on Kachadula as Minister of Trade, an announcement came that he had been redeployed to the Ministry of Defense. And of course, if you go online and even in the office, the talk was being, what's his defense background? Well, perhaps you don't need a defense background necessarily to be the Minister of Defense. And so, yes, a minister needs to have people that you can delegate to, mainly civil servants. But of course, you have that connection with the army, because you're the kind of midpoint between the president and the military, because the president is, of course, commander-in-chief. And your commander-in-chief needs to entrust you with the army's welfare. But yes, it's you know, the civil servants at any ministry really are the ones who run the ministries, because ministers can be reshuffled, civil servants not so frequently.
So one thing people need to understand is you don't need a military background or a security background to run the Ministry of Defense. This is more of an administration stuff, and you have many people that are doing this job. All that you do is to make sure you use your brain properly.
Yeah, I mean, you set the agenda, and as I said, because your president is the commander-in-chief, the president will tell you, look, you know, I want this, 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 and that for the army. Because if you look at, until recently, many African armies, they didn't fight wars. They just, the main thing they did was have coup d'etats. You know, you hardly heard of an African country invading or attacking another. You know, recently, many of them, particularly in West Africa and the Sahel, they've had to deal with jihadist violence. But now across the continent, militaries are having to fight other than just oppress their own people and stage coup d'etats and take over. So a lot of them are they're not battle hardened. And so until now, when they're having to fight wars, I mean, we just heard yesterday from, was it Nigeria or Niger? I think probably Niger, that Boko Haram killed 170 people in one instant, you know, just rounded them up and shot them. So, you know, now the military are having much more kind of being a military, which is, you know, to fight war and protect the territorial integrity of the nation. So in those countries, they probably have a Minister of Defense who probably does have a military background, but in most of them, it's not the case. I'm trying to remember who is the current one in Sierra Leone, and I can't. I mean, in some countries, you used to have, the president would also be Minister of Defense.
True.
But that's unusual.
Regarding the chieftaincy and all those leadership positions, someone mentioned the Asante King in Ghana.
The Asante Hene.
Yeah, the Asante.
Asante Hene, yes.
It's like...
the someone would be Francis, I suspect.
Yeah,
yes.
the Paramount chief. Francis...
and that person is a very powerful...
Francis is part of the Asante family.
You mean he's Asante family or Asante royal family? He's Asante. Yes.
He's Asante.
And have you been to Ghana?
Nope.
Oh, okay. You can go to the Asante Hene's palace, and I went there when I was there in 2019. And this is a very powerful kingdom, and that person is highly regarded. I would even say revered by his people. And they're very, very powerful. And really, every president that has ever been has always made sure that they are on good relations with the Asante Hene. So, yeah, very, very powerful position, indeed.
So the minister announces ID cards issuance in Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah, so there was a session at the National Assembly yesterday where the Interior Minister was questioned about why the need for Gambia, and it's something we had discussed here, why the need for Gambians in other countries to have ID cards when those countries don't ask them for Gambia. But apparently, in some instances, for example, in Bissau, of course, His Excellency the President was there just a day or two ago, for certain things you need to show that you are essentially, you're not a citizen of Bissau. And how are you going to do that if you don't have your Gambian ID to show that you are Gambian living there? So for example, for me, there's a kind of aliens card which I need to renew every year to show that, because my Sierra Leone passport has expired, I have a British passport which is still current. So until I renew my Sierra Leone passport, I don't have the kind of ECOWAS citizens card or whatever it is. I have an aliens card. I think I have it here with me.
Okay.
Which I have to renew every year. So that's essentially my ID card to show that I'm not a Gambian citizen. I can't vote. And I suspect similarly that is required in Bissau. But it would be good to know. So I'm going to, in fact, I had said before the program that I was going to look at the session the minister gave before the National Assembly, because essentially the National Assembly was asking why the need to do this, and he was explaining why there was a need to do that. Yeah.
Yes, so let's move on to the Point newspaper. Bensouda faces scrutiny over loans, assets and council deals.
It was a very interesting session. And yesterday's session overwhelmingly dealt with the invalid trucks, the waste management thing, and the deal between the council, ESPAS and Ajib Bank. There was a lot of probing around that. Was the deal above board? Did you give them a contract before you'd even issued the tender, and so on? But I think it's, and it's not just my imagination, because I've been watching the proceedings since he started giving evidence. I think this was day 6 or 7 of him giving evidence. And in fact, at the end of it, he told them that he has to travel. So they were saying, we want to wrap up this thing quickly, because if you travel and you're gone for long, it means we have to extend the commission's sitting. And, so as I said, they were probing him on these deals, and they were saying that from what we can see, it seems as if you'd already decided that they were going to get the contract before you'd even gazetted it, and you only gazetted it to kind of prove. So yeah, so yesterday was But the bit I was saying about it's not just my imagination. I think leading to up to the time when he had said he was going to contest the UDP flag bearership, the attitude was different between him, and it was a lot more confrontational. But it's been less so since he announced his withdrawal, actually, and it's not my imagination. All of the proceedings are on YouTube. Anybody can go and look at them. He's calmer, a lot more cooperative, and more willing to accommodate, and even admit some of the mistakes. So that's to his credit, I think.
Well, this is telling you when too many things are going in your head, sometimes it's a problem. You want to, probably you are following this, following the other thing. It might get you to emotions at some point. It might affect the way you perform.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I don't want to put kind of words or emotions in, but I think the fact that a lot of people had been saying this was a witch hunt to kind of discredit or disqualify him from the presidential race, I don't know whether he bought into that narrative, and that manifested itself in how he also started to perceive it as a witch hunt. But it wasn't. If you saw what they did with Rohit Malik Lowe, Sheriff Osonko, all the others who had come before the commission, they gave them just as hard a time. And those who didn't watch would say, oh, they're giving him a hard time. You'd only say that if you didn't. And again, if you go on local government commission website, YouTube channel, all the proceedings from day one, they're all there. Anybody can watch them. So they don't have to take my word for it. And they will see how everybody who has come has effectively been given a hard time. Now, if you support somebody, you think, oh, they're being very hard on my person. Well, they've been hard, and they've just been scrutinizing everybody in the same way. I don't think they're not inventing anything. They're not finding things that aren't there. They're taking what is there and they're asking, was this done properly? There's an audience physically in the room, as well as an audience online. Anybody can see what has happened, and people can decide. But when I heard, I have to say, I engaged with some of Talib's supporters and said, look, stop describing this as a witch hunt. Go back and watch the other proceedings and the other witnesses, and you'll see that the scrutiny was just as intense on them as it is on him.
Yeah. So, armed with cutlasses, knives,
I saw that story.
Youth gang launches 2-day violence attack in Welingara.
I saw that story. It's kind of scary story. I'm not sure what prompted it, but according to the newspaper report, these guys have been rampaging and terrorizing the place for a couple of days now. And yeah.
You see, really. I mean, we've received a lot of reports of this nature within that area, the Welingara, the Kunkujang, too much.
Are you trying to say these are lawless people?
Lawless people. I mean, we call it gangs. You remember when the police was clamping down to these groups of people? I mean, yeah. There was a gang fight sometime, two gangs engaged in a fight, and it lasted for almost 2 weeks. Fighting
over territory, it happens, and those kind of things are very difficult to control, because unless you kind of have a curfew in the area or state of emergency, it's very difficult, because everybody goes back to their homes at night. They put their cutlasses under their beds. And at some point, they text each other and say, let's meet up and go and attack these fellows, and the whole thing. So it's very hard to police, in the broad sense of the word police, and very hard to control. So this one, as I said, when I read the report this morning before we came on air, it sounds really scary. And the local community have been terrorized and terrified. And we hope something is done. So that people can go back and live peacefully in the area without being scared that they might be a victim.
Absolutely.
Of some serious violence. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so let's still proceed. I mean, still on the newspaper review. What do we have on the Foria? We have Brikama Children's Court stalled for months without magistrate.
we've been here before. Not just that court, but other courts, and they've been trying to recruit people, and it's been difficult. The recruitment process has improved, but it's still not good enough if we have a situation like this. What do you do? If cases are to be tried in that jurisdiction, they have to be tried in that jurisdiction. Is there a situation where there's another jurisdiction that isn't so overwhelmed, and they do have magistrates, and you can move the proceedings there? They have to do something, because you can't leave courts that need to be sitting, unattended, as it were. It does need to be addressed, and we hope it is addressed, because it's important and a serious matter. So I don't know. I mean, they're trying to recruit magistrates. I don't know whether you want to put yourself up to be a magistrate, but they do need to recruit, and the ministry needs to do something about it. Attorney General's office and Ministry of Justice, between them, need to address that. So I'm sure they would have read that newspaper report, and they wouldn't have liked what they've read.
Yeah. So still on the Foria newspaper, the Alpha Capital chairman testifies on sale of former President Jammeh's properties. Yeah,
this is the Special Select Committee that is looking into the sale and disposal of the former president's assets that were, the Jammeh Commission had said, should be seized. And once they were seized, there was a matter of their sale and their disposal. Now, you and I know that, a couple of months, 3 months ago, there was a leaked report which said that there had been some improper sale and disposal of these assets, and that led to this select committee being set up. And so they've been delving into how the assets were sold and disposed of, and there have been some fairly shocking revelations since. A couple of days ago we had, I think, the secretary to the commission, and she was talking about, I think, 145 tractors. I didn't know there were that many. And how they were disposed of, and how much was recorded in actuality and how much they were actually sold for. So there've been some, I mean, I'm not sure if people are paying attention to it, but it's live, it's online. You go on Facebook, you go click on National Assembly, it will take you to the live proceedings. Another one that, and it's good that it's something that people can see every day and listen to.
Finally, because, 60 Chinese and Vietnamese in court for cyber crimes case.
Yeah.
In the Gambia?
Literally, I saw this 2 minutes before we came downstairs to do this program. On the Gambia Police Force Facebook page, there's a press release talking about these people being prosecuted for cybercrime. Of this magnitude, I think this must be a first in the Gambia. And I think everybody's watching to see what happens. They're being prosecuted. If they are found guilty, what then? Are they going to be fined? Are they going to be jailed? What? So I think everybody's watching this one. But as I said, just before we came on, it popped up on the Gambia Police Force Facebook page, where they had the full script of the press release.
Thank you, Mr. Ade. Thank you very much, Mr. Ade.
Pleasure.
This point, we will take a short break. After the break, then we'll talk about the local conference on youth on climate change. It was good, Elkoy. It was good doing this with you, Mr. Ade Drame. And hopefully we'll be back here next week, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yes, for another edition of QTV this morning.
And you'll have Mr. Mboj as your co-host.
Yes. So until then, just to remind our viewers, for those who didn't listen to Jenna Sonko's farewell yesterday,
yes,
she is now going to further her masters, to do her masters. I mean, so she wouldn't be on the program for a while, except until if we give her a video call,
which she has promised or threatened to do.
Yes, exactly.
But she says, once you've done this kind of work, it's hard to stay away. So after the news yesterday, she and I had a a long chat at my desk, and I was saying, look, once you're a journalist, if you go somewhere, you see an interesting story.
Why not file it in?
You're going to be, I can do a story about this, and of course, you know, the door is always open, and you know, she'll be coming back, you know, at the completion of her degree, you know, the master's, and yeah, you know, so when we look forward to the stories that she's going to file.
Exactly. So at this point, we'll be right back after the break.
Money orange money Johnny we ni nuldugol mbudi mi yetoma Johnny ida wawi nuldude mbudi irako Gambia do ya Senegal e Q money wallet mount e ko hon wonda e fadde mi yetoma uduto Q money account ma on Johnny fuddoda nuldude mbudi e teribe ma re wadon ka orange money nder Senegal fi yebugol hen ko labi ida wawi nuldude Q money customer care e 133 Q money suñu kalpe dum no yadi e sartaji.
Opticalia, Gambia's leader in optical care with 5 locations offering the best in visual health. With cutting-edge European technology, Opticalia delivers single vision lenses in just 20 minutes. At Opticalia, we care about our future. Eye exams are free for individuals under 18, ensuring everyone has access to quality eye care. But it's not just about vision. Opticalia also provides advanced audiology services to ensure your hearing health is in the best hands. Our audiology services offer European standard hearing aids and diagnostics, ensuring everyone can hear clearly. Whether it's testing or treatment, you can trust Opticalia for your auditory care. Opticalia offers European standard products, fair prices, and exceptional value all under one roof. Visit Opticalia at the Tropic Shopping Center near Senegambia or call us on 7767-121 or at any of our regional branches. Banjul 7767-126, Brikama 7767-123, Farafenni 7767-124, Basse 7767-125. Opticalia, love what you see and hear.
Q money aning orange money ye bulodi nyola pour ka kori kio sone yandi ka bonan Gambia banko kan kata Senegal banko kan aning Q money wallet e ka mune batu e muna fan Q money account wala sign pour ka dati ka kodoki e terimal anila dimbayal kana aning orange money Senegal ni lafta ku Senegal sotola je Q money customer care commandi 133 Q money suñu kalpe ning sartolle bala.
Q Money and Orange Money has just made money transfer easier. Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Aji Bank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Aji Bank, your investment partner. Q Money, ak Orange Money.
Back, you're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Now let's head to the last segment of this program, and I wanted to let Mr. Ade go, but I decided to keep him again because I know discussing climate change is one of his thing too. So Mr. Ade Drame, please join me. Don't leave the set.
I accept the invitation and I'll stay.
Yes. So we have Hadijatu Sise, lead coordinator, Elkoi Gambia, and Anasar, Elkoi Gambia, working group member. So ladies, welcome to this program.
Thank you.
You people are so gender biased. Why is it only 2 female? Why didn't we have the man here? Where is Mr. Haidara?
Mr. Haidara, he participated yesterday.
Yesterday, he was on TV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
yes.
Then it's balanced then.
We're trying
so
to get a balance.
it's good to have you. Are you Hadija too?
Yeah,
Hadija
sure.
too.
And
Anasar.
Anasar. Anna, this is not your first time here. Do we have any program on QTV before?
No, that would be my sister.
Oh, probably.
Oh, your sister.
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah, so welcome once again.
Thank you.
Yes. So tell us what ELCO is.
Yeah. Good morning, viewers. I am Hadija Sise, the lead coordinator of ELCOI Gambia. So ELCOI, with the acronym, ELCOI stands for the Local Conference of Youth on Climate Change. It is the national version of the International Conference of Youth that happens a week before the Conference of Parties, an annual conference, the UNFCCC conference. So
Conference of Party,
yeah,
COP.
Everybody
exactly.
knows it Everybody knows it as COP, exactly. So it's the national version of the International Conference of Youth. So the Conference of Youth happens a week before the Conference of Parties, where a global youth statement it's being developed. So within this global youth statement, this is the national version of each country. So currently we have 100+ countries hosting this ELCOI within their host nations. Okay. And for the Gambia, this is the 4th time we've been hosting the ELCOI, and it has been hosted by the Gambia Environmental Alliance, the umbrella body for all environmental organizations groups in the Gambia. So this year it's going to be our 4th edition, whereby we bring young people across all the 8 administrative regions in the Gambia, ensuring their voices are being heard in a policy document called the National Youth Statement. So it's through this National Youth Statement that young people's voices, their ideas and expertise regarding the various climate challenges that they face within their various regions will be captured. And when this document is being developed, it's been presented to our government, the government officials and key stakeholders as well. It's also going to be incorporated to the Global Youth Statement. That is what we happen to be the Conference of Youth that happens annually before the Conference of Parties.
So Anna, if we can bring you in here. Since 2022, when they had the first edition, this has grown and grown. Then I think they had 100. Now you're expecting 300. If people then said, well, what have been the sort of high points or the achievements of ELCOI so far, what would you say those were or have been?
Well, good morning, viewers. ELCOI has grown since 2022. We have seen it in different ways. Like you said earlier, when it started in 2022, we had only 100. We were taking only 100, but then this year we're taking about 300. And then it goes to show that people are getting more interested, because if we have to compare the applicants that we received before and the applications that we are receiving now, it shows that we are actually doing something good, because youths are inspired to come up and then share the challenges they're facing in their various communities to drive solutions together so that we can our voices would be heard, because all that we are doing is making sure that the voices of youth are incorporated in the National Youth Statement, which would further be incorporated in the Global Youth Statement.
And that was kind of why I asked the question. Do you actually get the sense that those youth voices are being heard from 2022 to the 2023? We've covered all the sort of various sessions since they started. So do you get the sense that the voices are being heard?
I want to believe that we are getting there.
By the people who matter, or who need to hear the voices. Are they hearing those voices?
Well, we are doing our part.
Okay.
You know, there's this saying, you do what you can and then leave the rest in the hands of those who matter.
Sure.
So I believe from our own perspective, we are doing all we can, because we are bringing in youths from different aspects of the region who are coming up with different problems. You know, when it comes to climate change, the problem never stops, it grows. So every year we bring in new problems, and then we present our solutions as youths. So we present it to the right people. So it's a matter of them whether they're actually doing what is expected of them. Because for us, we present this and then we do follow-ups with them to ensure that, okay, they're actually doing what is expected and what is right by them.
Yeah, so biggest, okay, you want...
Just a quick one. I was going to ask, because this year, in the sort of press stuff that went out, they mentioned the fact that, you know, youths, including girls, and persons with disabilities, and how they are affected by climate change. I just wondered, why has there felt the need to include that in this year's.
Yeah, so this is actually an example of why we have Anna here to respond to your question, why we have gender gender inclusivity of both us being the female, but like you can see the differences. So the ELCOI also stands for the voices of young people across Gambia. Be it a disability or persons living with an ability, we always encourage young people to be part of the space because like we promote diversity and inclusion. So even if you look at our National Youth Statement policy recommendation, you've been realized that in terms of climate change vulnerabilities, women and youth have been the most affected into all the records from IPCC to our national document records from the NDMA, National Disaster. So these are the challenges that we face in our own local communities. So how can we bring them on board without leaving anyone behind? So that is why we're trying to ensure that we have these people on board to be able to also raise their voice on behalf of the voiceless people. So in addition to that, with the impacts that we have done currently, looking at the government of the Gambia, they've been supporting us for so long, far too long now. And looking at it this year alone, 2 of the ministry's projects, that is the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, through 2 of their projects are supporting almost more than 50% of this conference. Compare even last year the same. That is the WACA project and also the RICA project. So within the RICA project, that is where we are able to initiate what we call the pre-regional consultation. So this pre-regional consultation, it serves as a bottom-top approach, ensuring we reach out to all the 8 administrative regions in the Gambia, ensuring even if you do not have the space to attend the conference because of the limited resources, but at least your voice will be heard at your own region. And through that regional consultation, young people were able to create a lot of substantive solutions they are doing within their communities, especially in terms of adaptation and vulnerability mechanisms. So these are all inclusive things that we had already put aside on our draft National Youth Statement that is actually going to be presented tomorrow for the National Youth Statement. So it already serves as a youth policy demand as a draft one, then tomorrow we are going to finalize it.
So let's talk about what misconception about climate change do we have among young people, because we are trying for young people to have that understanding of what climate change is and the dangers. So what are the misconceptions?
Yeah, so with the misconception, even within our youth, we're trying to make sure that like it's a reality. Climate change is a reality and it's obviously affecting everyone. So how do we ensure that young people also know that this is affecting them? Because like these are records that we, the young people, we even face. For instance, we can take a scenario of the 2022 flash flooding. We, the young people, many CSOs, we volunteer to support the communities. We even had to go to WFP or NDMA to serve as just volunteers within that. And you've realized that most of those young people are being affected directly. And the capacity to evacuate them was very limited. So these are the type of scenarios that we explain to young people, and how do we increase the awareness is to encourage more of these climate change workshops, seminars, and even trainings.
Do you have outreach where you go to schools and the universities and so on? Because I'd be interested in that.
The past 2 weeks with the National Youth Service Scheme, I serve as one of their facilitator trainer on climate change education, just on the fresh graduates, more than 100 people. So these are the type of spaces we try to encourage young people to be able to get to understand more about it. And if you look at the Gambia Environmental Alliance, we have like more than 50 organizations within that body. And most of them are into climate education, climate activism, or either they do climate outreach through tree planting, mangrove restorations, and even there have been what we call the Green Up Gambia. They've been doing massive restoration across all the degraded wetlands in our communities.
They called us to an event last week, in fact.
Exactly. So these are the type of things that we always try to encourage, ensuring that people are aware that there is a reality. So in that sense, how can we young people, how can our voices be heard in the most biggest policy document? So that is the National Climate Change Priority Document. And because annually, each country, our government stakeholders, they will present this document to the Conference of Parties, ensuring that there is at least a fund, climate financing fund, for that vulnerable country. Because Gambia is part of among the 100 most vulnerable countries in terms of climate change. So how do they also include the support of young people in it? And we already get a positive feedback from the government just from their National Climate Change Bill that is already been passed. You will see that into that component, at least 20% of that bill is being for a climate youth fund. So meaning at least there's a plus for we the young people. But how can we push forward regarding those funds is to ensure that we always try to make follow-up regarding that. So that is why even for the LCOI, we developed what we call the policy task force team, ensuring we follow up with relevant stakeholders, especially the government, to ensure that youth demands are captured.
So Anna, how can we partner with local communities, I mean, to help mitigate the effects of climate change?
Well, I want to say this. If we realize, we see a lot of youth organizations coming up now, not just mere youth organizations that are into mitigating climate change and these factors affecting their communities. Because recently, I think about a year ago, there was this organization that was formed by young people. They're still school-going children, called the Patriots. Okay. Since their inception, they have engaged in so many tree plantings, and most of them are from the Greater Banjul area, but then most of their activities are based in the rural area, because they tend to believe that those people are the most vulnerable when it comes to climate change. So within those communities in the rural area, those people are also coming up to partner up with different organizations like Green Up Gambia and other organizations that are into climate actions to ensure that they mitigate solutions to fight against climate change.
So the thing, we're about to run out of time. Can you just tell the viewers the dates of when this is on so that people know?
The dates are 12th and 13th. That is tomorrow and Saturday
And
at the Sada Kairaba Conference Center.
And it says the objectives of LCOI 2025 include knowledge transfer, idea sharing, platform capacity building, and of course climate action.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we are going to discuss the problems. Every year new problems evolve. So after discussing those problems, we don't stop at that. We bring up solutions, and then how to go about these solutions, and then how do we build partnerships amongst ourselves, because as Khadija said, we are bringing youth from all the 8 administrative regions. There's this saying, 2 heads is better than 1. So we are all coming together as youth.
And 8 heads are better than...
Exactly. Thank you very much, Khadija and Anna for
Thank
coming
you
on the
much.
program.
And we look forward to engaging with you some more over LCOI.
Absolutely. Yeah, so until then, viewers, have a wonderful... weekend starts.
Our weekend for this morning,
Yes.
the weekend starts now.
Weekend starts now. Yeah. Until then, enjoy the rest of our programs. We are happy our director is back, Aliu Jallo. Until then, bye-bye.